Hello guys, it's your one and only host C Fashion Academy. Today I'll be driving right into our newest topic, which is what? How to cut and sew a female kaftan. Okay, so but before we go straight into that, I want you guys to make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed already. So make sure you do those things, because the more you like our video, the more others get to see it. So first of all, as you guys can see, you can see our measurements. We have the shoulder there, which is what? 15 inches. We have the round bust, which is what? 38 inches. We have the round underbust, which is what? 34 inches. And we have the underbust point. For those of you that doesn't know what the underbust point is, the UBP there means what? From shoulder to your what? Underbust, which is what? 14. So we have our what? Hip line, which is what? 26. The hip line is from the shoulder to the what? Hip level. Okay, we have the round hip, which is what? 44 inches. And we have the what? Gown length, which is what? 58 inches. But we are going to add our extra 2 inches allowance for the hemming, which is going to make it what? 60 inches. Okay, so we drive right into that. So for you to cut this particular free kaftan gown, all you need to do first of all is to do what? Fold your fabric. Okay, so like I said, the first stage which you need to take is to do what? Fold your fabric. You guys know that I usually have a pattern. So the first stage is what? Fold your fabric. Now, how do you fold your fabric? You fold your fabric considering the what? Highest circumference. Now in this case, highest circumference is what? The round hip, which is what? 44 inches. Now what you have to do now is 44 divided by 4 is going to give us what? 11 inches. So that means, how are you going to fold your fabric? Is it 11 inches? No. Now that 11 inches, you are going to add maximum of 4 inches allowance. Now that 4 inches allowance is with respect to, you know, body allowance, and also let's say 44 divided by 4 is what? 11 inches. Now you also have to add your what? 2 inches body allowance, then plus what? 2 inches with respect to, assuming you are making what? An A-line free kaftan gown. You understand what I mean? So let me repeat it once more. I say you fold with your highest circumference. That is what? 44 divided by 4 is what? 11. Now add extra 4 inches to it, which that 4 inches contains what? The body allowance, and for the what? A-line, which the gown is going to have. Do you understand? So 11 plus 4 is going to give us what? 15. So in that case, what you are going to fold is what? 15 inches. Are you seeing it? So that is what you fold. Look at it very well. You fold what? 15 inches. So after folding, next thing you are going to do is to mark out your measurement points. Now in this case, what are our measurement points? Our measurement point starts from the what? Shoulder. From the shoulder to the bust line. From the bust line to the what? Under bust line. From under bust line to the what? Hip line. From the hip line to the what? Gown length. Then that's all. Okay, so let's start. Now this is the shoulder line. Now as you can see, I made a straight ruling here, straight mark here. This is trying to tell us that, see, here is not perfect. You understand? So folding this material wasn't easy for me. So what I did, what I now had to what? Start afresh by giving myself a what? A straight line. Now this straight line signifies where the shoulder is. Do you understand? So now this is the shoulder. So next thing we are going to do is to do what? Get our under bust length. Now our under bust length in this case is what? 14 inches. Now 14, from here to here, you mark out your what? 14 inches. Are you seeing it? You mark out your what? 14 inches. Now the reason why I'm doing 2 markings here is so that when we take our rule, in order to connect the line, we will actually get a what? Straight line. If not, if you don't do it like that, you might end up getting a what? Slanted line. Okay, so after the under bust length, next is the what? Bust length. Now for you to get your bust length, is either you measure it directly from the person's body, you understand, then you impute it, or you use the standard, which in this case, for under bust point of what? 14, the standard of getting your bust length is what? From this under bust, are you seeing I'm placing the tape? Step up by what? 3 inches. Are you seeing it? From under bust, step up by what? 3 inches. You now get your what? Bust line. So we've gotten our bust line. So take your rule and do what? Connect. Okay, after getting your bust line, next thing is what? Your hip line. Now in this case, the hip line is what? 26 inches. So if it is 26 inches, what are we going to do? From here, you mark out your what? 26 inches. Are you saying it? Now make sure you get a what? Double markings in order to get a what? Straight line. Then when you mark it out, what do? Take your rule and do what? Connect. So after you are done with the hip line, next is what? The gown length. Now in this case, the gown length is what? 58 inches. So 58 inches plus 2. The 2 is for what? Allowance, which is for what? For hemming of the what? Down part. So 58 plus 2 is what? 60 inches. So in that case, let's mark out our gown length. Gown length start from shoulder. Are you seeing it? To what? 58 inches. Okay, this is our what? 58 inches. Please make sure you mark it 2 times in order to get a straight line. Don't miss that. Okay, also remember to put your what? 2 inches extra allowance. Please note that. Okay, so now we are done marking out the measurement points. What next do? We now start by what? Marking out our shoulder. So in order to get our shoulder is what? 15 inches. 15 inches divided by what? 2. We usually divide shoulder by 2 is what? 7.5 inches. Now you don't mark 7.5 inches exactly. You add extra half inch to it, making it what? 8 inches. That half inch is for what? Seam allowance. That is where you join your what? Sleeve. Okay, 8 inches. Are you saying it? Please do the same thing in order to get a straight line. 8 inches. Are you saying it? So take your rule to get the straight line which you actually need. Now mark it down. Please, there is no limit. Just mark it down. You're making use of chalk. Chalk cannot really stain your clothes. Okay, so after you are done marking out your shoulder, what do? You slant the shoulder. Note, we all know that no individual shoulder is straight. No matter how broad your shoulder is always slanted. So in other words, what are we going to do now? We are going to slant the shoulder. So to slant the shoulder, I have this standard I usually use. First of all, from here, step down by what? 1 inch. Are you saying it? Especially for female, that's what I use. Step down by 1 inch. Then another thing is what? I usually have my what? Standard neck width, which is what? 3 inches. Now mark out your standard neck width, which is what? 3 inches. Please, this is not the same to everybody's method, but it is my own method. Okay, so what next thing you do is what? You connect the shoulder from here to this very point. That gives you your what? Your slanted shoulder. Okay, are you seeing it? So next thing we do now is what? We form the armhole. In order to form the armhole, how do I usually form my armhole? This is, see, you first of all mark out your armhole length. So how do you get your armhole length? Please, I usually use my simplest standard, which is what? Whatever I have at my shoulder. Example, my shoulder is 15 divided by 2 is what? 7.5. Then I added extra half inch to it, making it what? 8. That is exactly the same thing I use as my what? Armhole length. Look at it now, 8 inches. Are you seeing it? So on this 8 inches, take your rule and what? Rule straight. Remember, we are forming our armhole. So next thing we are going to do now is what? We are going to effect what we call armhole effect. What is really armhole effect? We put that armhole effect to make sure that, when you are, how do I say it? Sometimes when you wear clothes, you see excess puff at the armhole region. So in order to reduce the excess puff and make it fitted and just make it to be very okay, we effect this armhole effect. So in order to put armhole effect, what do? Whatever that is your armhole length, are you saying it? Divide it by 2. So when you divide it by 2, you come here, step in by what? At least half inch or 3/4. So let's use half inch here. Are you seeing it? So next thing you are going to do, you're also going to, from this particular point, this is angle 90. From this point, diagonally mark out your what? 1 inch. See what I mean? Diagonally mark out your 1 inch. Are you seeing it? So we have 3 points now. From this point to this point to this point. So what are we going to do? We are going to join them together. Okay, now see me as I join it together. Okay, are you seeing it? This is how you mark out your armhole, giving it your what? Armhole effect. So next thing we are going to do now is what? First of all, we are going to effect our body circumference. Okay, now the round bust is what? 38. 38 divided by 4. I hope you all know why we are dividing by 4. If you don't know the reason why we are dividing by 4, please make sure you comment in the comment section below, and make sure you like this video, because if you don't like this video, others won't get to see it. So make sure you help others see this video by doing what? Smashing on that like button. Okay, so let's continue. Round bust is what? 38 inches. 38 divided by 4 is what? 9.5. So on this very point, mark out your what? 9.5. Okay, so when you mark out your 9.5, what next do? You put your what? Body allowance. Now the body allowance depends also the type of fabric you are making use of. Now in this case, even this fabric I'm making use of is stretchy. It's a velvet material. Do you understand? So, but if you are not using a stretchy material, please, I advise you to add what? 2 inches allowance, except you know what you are doing. You understand? But if you are new to this, please, I advise you to add what? 2 inches allowance. But in this case, I'm not going to add 2 inches because of the type of fabric that I'm using. So I'm going to add what? 1.5 inch allowance. Okay. So next thing we are going to do now is what? We are going to mark out our what? Round under bust. Now round under bust 34 divided by 4 is what? 8.5. Okay, so let's mark our 8.5. Okay, now add your extra 1.5 to it. Okay, so next is the what? Round hip. So the round hip now, which is what? 44 divided by 4 is what? 11. So 11 plus what? 1.5 extra allowance. Okay, so now we are done. What do we do next? We now have to do or connect it down to the what? Full gown length. Now see how you connect it. From here, are you seeing it? Connect, then down to the what? Hip, then you go down like this. Okay, so you go down like this. Now look at how I'm going down. Now as you can see, I've affected a little bit of the what? The A line on this particular gown. I've affected a little bit of the what? A line on this particular gown. So as you can see, it's looking very nice and gorgeous. So what next are we going to do? We are going to do what? Put our what? The kind of neck which we want. It depends on the kind of neck which you want. So we are going to effect the neck. So which neck are we going to put on this cloth now? I'm going to put a canoe neck. So in order to put a canoe neck, see how I do it. Okay, the neck width which I'm using is what? 4 inches, which is when you expand it to be what? 8 inches. While the neck depth is what? 3.5 inches. Look at it. Look at how you form your neck width and what? Neck depth. So to get the what? Neck block, what do you use? Your neck width, which is what? 4 inches. The neck depth, which is what? 3.5 inches. That is what I'm using for this particular gown. Okay, so now what you do is what? You form the neck block. Are you seeing it? Look at it now. So remember how we curved this side by effecting what here? 1 here. If you are making a canoe, see, if you are making a normal round neck, use this same method. What do I mean? Look at it now. By effecting your what? 1 inch. Are you seeing it? Then put your curve. But if you want to make a canoe, it's not 1 inch. It's from 1.5 inch to what? 2 inches. See what I mean here? Are you seeing it? So when you measure this thing, you see that it's up to what? 2 inches. That is for what? Canoe neck. But for a normal round neck is what? 1 inch. Are you seeing it? The same thing we use at the what? Armhole. I normally use this thing whenever I want to apply a curve. Okay? So now we are done. So next thing we are going to do now is what? We are going to cut it out. Let's cut it out. This is the front part. Okay, now cutting for the back, what you need to do is to do what? Fold your back fabric. As you can see, I've already folded the back fabric. As you can see, I've placed the front part on the back part. Are you seeing it? So for you to place it, all you need to do, please, if the kaftan is going to have a zip at the back, if it's not going to have a zipper, what you are going to do is what? You're going to cut exactly what you have, except maybe you need a difference on your neckline. You understand? So, but this one I prefer dividing the back into 2 in order to put a zip. Because that's something I usually notice. No matter how free a cloth is, some women that have made clothes for, they usually want to wear it easily. That means you need to put zip for them at the back. So that is what I'm actually doing now. So for you to put zip at the back, all you need to do is to do what? Bring out what? From 1/2 inch to 2 inches allowance at the back. Now as you can see, my own is not up to 1 inch. It's 1/2 inch allowance. Why am I doing that? Because the kind of material I'm using is a stretchy material. And do you understand? So that is it. So next thing, after you finish, as you can see, I placed it carefully, leaving 1/2 inch for the what? Zipper. Then next thing you need to do is to do what? Cut out the neck part. Now for you to cut out the neck part, what do? Is it that you cut out exactly what you have on the front, or you do what? You make the back part higher. That is a what? A higher neck. Do you understand? This one might like you can make the back to be higher than the front. The front can be lower while the back is higher, or you can even cut the back exactly what you have on the front. But for the sake of this particular dress that I'm making, I'm not going to use exactly the same thing. As you can see, I'm stepping up by what? 1 inch. I'm stepping up by 1. So in that case, I have my what? Back neck as a what? High neck. Are you seeing it? Okay, so in that case, I'm going to cut it out. So when I cut it out, I trace it out, the shoulder. So, but there's something I really need to show you now. You see that armhole effect we apply here? Please note this. Armhole effect is only applied at the what? Front, not at the back. So in that case, I'm not going to cut exactly like this. I'm actually going to cut like this. Look at it. I'm going to cut like this. Are you seeing it? That half inch that we stepped inside, I'm bringing it out again. Or do you understand? So next thing we are going to do is what? Trace according to this very line. So after that, all you need to do is what? Make sure you trace exactly what you have by the size, then down to the what? Gown length. So that is it. That is how you cut your bag. Okay, so after you finish cutting, the final thing you need to do is to do what? Open up your what? Zipper allowance. Open up the back part so that you can be able to do what? Fix your what? Zip. Open it up down to the what? Gown length. That is what you do. Okay, so after this time, I'm going to teach us. Yeah, as you can see, okay, now by me looking at your screen, you will see the clothes that I'm making. So I'm going to teach us how to make that design in front of the gown. Okay. So now that I'm done cutting out the front and the back, there's something I really need to let you guys know. Now look at the design at the center of the gown which I'm making. Now that design, you can effect it in two ways. It's either you take, see the material that I'm using for the design. Are you seeing the material? This is the material I'm going to place at the center. Okay, so it's either you take this material and place directly on top of this particular one, do you understand, in front, or you totally cut off that part and replace it with this particular material. So which one am I going to do? And see which one is best for you to do. Please, anyone is good, provided you can actually actualize it perfectly. Do you understand? But which one am I going to use? I'm going to use the second one, the one of cutting out and what? Putting it back. That the reason why I usually do that is because it allows my clothes to flow freely without any restriction. Do you understand? So that is what I'm actually going to do. So first of all, the width of my design, which will be at the center, is how many inches? Let me use 4 inches, the same as the neck. You understand? So let me use 4 inches. Are you seeing it? So mark the 4 inches down. Mark it down. Do you understand? Mark the 4 inches down. So when you mark it down, take your rule and do what? Connect. After you finish connecting it, cut it out. Now the one you are cutting out, you are not cutting both the back out. You are cutting only the front, because the design will only be applied at the what? Front. See what I'm going to do now? Okay, so next thing you have to do is to do what? Cut out your what? 4 inches. So let's cut it out. Only the front part, please. So as you can see, we are done cutting out their part for the what? Front. So next thing you are going to do is to do what? Arrange this one. Arrange it very well. And do what next? Take it to C. Okay? Just arrange it very well. Don't let it scatter. Arrange it very well. For you to arrange it very well, you can hold it with a what? An office pin. Okay, so after you are done, as you can see, this is the designers, the one that's going to be at the middle part, while this is the one that I cut out from my original front side. So what we are going to do, take this one, place on top of this one. Are you seeing it? I've just arranged it. So next thing you need to do is what? You trace it out. But please, while tracing it out, don't trace out exactly. Please, you can add half inch while tracing it out. The essence of this half inch is to make sure that while joining it from the front, you don't lose excess allowance. Do you understand? It's for seam allowance. Okay, normally you're supposed to add extra 1 inch, but for the sake of this particular tutorial, add half inch. This is also a stretchy material. Okay, so cut it down through. Cut it down. Please don't allow this one to shake. Cut it down. So that is what you do till you finish cutting out. Okay, so as you can see, now we are done cutting it out. Next thing, as you can see, the design is going to be at the center. Now this is the one that I cut off initially. Are you seeing it? So what we are going to do is what? We are going to join this one to this one. Are you seeing it? Then join this one to this very one. That is what we are going to do on the machine now. Then after we finish joining them together, we now weave our fabric. We now weave everything before doing what? Our final coupling. Okay, welcome back. So as you guys can see, I've actually joined it. As you guys can see, look at it now. You see that I've really joined it. So next thing that we need to see, look at it, I've joined it. Now look at the neck. there is no neck there because I did not carve it out, which I'm still going to carve it out now. Okay, next thing we really need to do is to do what? Turn the bag. Now see the bag. We've already finished weaving everything. Are you seeing it? We finished weaving everything. Now see the back part also. We finished weaving everything. We finished overlocking everything. Are you seeing it? Now the back part, which I gave ½ inch as my zip allowance, has been joined. So next thing we are going to do now, first of all, is to do what? Iron. So that is what we are going to do now. We are going to iron it out so that everywhere is going to relax. So everywhere will relax. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. Next thing you do is what? You iron. Okay, so you iron. Iron is so that it has to relax very well. Iron is so that for it to relax very well. So iron. Make sure you iron from beginning to the end, so that it will come out very well. You understand? Iron both the front and iron both the back zipper allowance. That place you join. Please, the secret about sewing in most cases that people don't know is that whichever seam that you join together, make sure you iron.
Thanks and God bless you for watching. Please, I want you to make sure you like this video. I want you to make sure you subscribe to this channel if you are still new to this channel. Thank you for watching. Please, I also want you to make sure you watch the continuation of this to see where we actually joined the whole cloth together to finish the cloth. Thank you and God bless you.